go to those things and you don't. Because when I got in this company and others were going on trips like that and I wasn't, until I qualified, I couldn't stand it. See? Now that is a teaching. You know that, right? That's not a statement. That is a teaching. There has to be something you find in your system that starts to teach you how to not stand it. Because that feeling is what triggers your day-to-day activity. You know that? See, that's what triggered me when I got in this company. That, you know, for those of you that never heard that story, back in July of '86, when I first got coded, I came into, you know, Hector's office one day to talk to him. I was in the business about two weeks, you know, coded. I was scared to death because I just gave up a $70,000 job to do this full time, right? And I walked in and said, I drove 50 minutes. That's how long it took me to get to the office and just to see Hector. I didn't even think to call. I just drove out, you know, and I wanted to hang out with him that day because I was full time and scared. And 10 years I showed up somewhere and I didn't know what to do, right? So I drive out there and I walk and I go, yeah, have you seen Hector yet? And they go, oh, no, he's in Hawaii. Yeah, he's in what? Yeah, he's in Hawaii with the company for a week. He won a contest. Now, I had been coded 2 weeks at that time. The contest ended in April of '86. I got in May of '86. I wasn't even in the company when the contest ended. And I was so sick to my stomach that I had to get back in my car and go home. I couldn't even hang around the office. I couldn't even qualify to go on it. But because I was left out, I couldn't stand the feeling. See, this is what I'm asking you today. What do you do with those feelings? You know, what do you do with them? Where do you put them? That's a big question for your career. Find out about you. That's what you're trying to manage, aren't you?
Right.
Mike and Bridget, you guys are managing you, not your people. It's not a people managing type of business. That's for corporate America. This is a managing you business. And I do not see enough of that going on in this company. I see people getting a few people on their team and then managing the crap out of them so they can't stand you anymore. Instead, you should be spending every second improving you, figuring you out. You do that, you win. You do the other, you struggle. A lot of people, you know what Mark and Sue's secret is? Is that they don't manage anybody. That's their secret. Everybody wonders, I don't know, they're just so non-presumptuous people. They just don't seem to come across like big-time managers. I know they're not. They're not. That's their secret. They manage themselves. You guys really got to hear that. Figure that out today. That's your question of the day, Todd. What do you do with those feelings when you see us in Hawaii? By the way, Sue, did you guys have one of those executive suites? Yes. Do you know how much those were a night?
1,000?
No, $600 a night. So that's $3,600 just for the rooms. You're there 6 nights. And then you got 2 extra days. Yeah. Your trip probably was $7-8 grand.
That trip was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a room that we had over in Lanai. It was $450 a night. A room.
A room.
A room.
Right, not a suite.
Not a suite.
We had suites that had like 3 window views, man. And, you know, you open up all the screens and it like sounded like you were in the middle of the ocean. I mean, you guys just got to do whatever you got to do to get to these things. Yeah, Mark. You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, what? Can we wait? All right. Well, I'd like to end this section with that. Okay, that's what I was going. Okay, and we just got to get that done. Okay, so whatever you got to do, go to your upline to find out, first of all, what do I have to do to get to RVP and set some dates. That's why, you guys ever notice I always ask you when you're going to RVP? You know that? I always go, so when are you going to RVP? When are you going to RVP? What's your date? When's your date? When's your date? It doesn't matter if you hit that date or not. If you don't hit that date, great. We'll set another date. But you got to have a date.
Right.
You got to have a focus point, constantly working on something, getting somewhere. And all you RVPs that are struggling at the same premium, you're at 40 or 30 or 25 or 50, I guarantee I know why. It's because you people aren't trying to be RVPs. See? They're not trying trying to be RVPs. That's what's wrong with your base shops. See? And that's what was like, when I built this hierarchy, it was built on the fact that everybody was going RVP. Okay, now, the youngers have the best hierarchy in the company right now. And I'll tell you why. I just gave you the secret. What's the secret, John? No, what's the second secret? You're always going RVP. The youngers are making, do you know that they made $107,000 last month? They need a hand for that. And before I called this Super Saturday, they were on their way to making more than me. And I stopped that. Okay. Now, if it doesn't change right now, they will make between $200,000 and $300,000 more than me this year. That's how great your organization is. Okay? And I think that's great. I don't think that's a negative to me. I think that's great because I have always said that this isn't a pyramid. Right. There is nothing that proves that more than a downline making more money than an active upline. Right. There are downlines that make more money than an inactive upline, not an active one. Not that I'm real active, but this is work right now, yeah.
You know, when we were in Maui, we were talking to Tracy Byers, and he was mentioning that of all the SNSDs and NSDs and the big money earners, based on new business, this hierarchy, from I think it was Lamarck, you, and youngers on up, or down, whatever, is making the most money.
Right.
Everybody else is all the old stuff.
We make the most advances of anybody in the company, Hector, me, and the youngers. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so that just proves that, you know, because the big guys, a lot of those guys, and this is great too, making money on what they did. We're making the most money today. And that's because we've got the most people trying to be RVP. Okay? See, folks, it's real simple. And this is just, I have a simple message for you today. You got to look at your life down the road. You can't look at it today. For example, I got a perfect example for you. How many people have ever remodeled a house? What is that? What's that month period like? Hell, right? Moving's bad. Remodeling is like advanced moving, right? Okay? Because it takes a lot longer. Well, I'm in the middle of that right now. I mean, there's dust everywhere. There's crap everywhere. Everything you look at looks ugly and old and crusty. You know, you gotta, everything you want to, once you start, you can't get it over fast. You want to start replacing everything. Now, even the nice things I have look like crap because I want new things. You know, you start, you can't stop, right? Except I know how to stop it as soon as it gets to the money part. But anyway, right now, so here's what I do. I take a deep breath, and I close my eyes, and I see the house done. That's what drives me on. This is not happening in most of your careers in this room. You don't see that waking up every morning at 7, out of the house 8, 8:30, home for a couple hours in the afternoon, back out to midnight. You don't see the result. You only see that that's an inconvenience, and I don't want to do that, and that's too hard, and you know, you look at today. Getting up today, getting up tomorrow, you know, working Saturdays. You see that, so you don't get motivated by that, right? I don't either. No human being would get, hey, I can't wait to get up and work 16-hour days. I love it, right? So no human being is motivated by that vision. But the other vision of a completed hierarchy, like I have now, and the youngers are so close to within 6 months, so probably be at $1 million. You understand? Hector's done, Sharp's done. See, you got to see the completed picture. That's what gets you out of bed and gets you out on the streets. Is that a good analogy? Yeah. In the midst of remodeling a house, if you can't close your eyes and see how beautiful it's going to be, you are going to go nuts sitting in that dust. Right? So that's what I do. I've kind of planned my life to get out of the house, stay away, don't be in there as long as, you know, as much as I have to. I got to get out of there. Everything's gonna get done, and then the top of that, my air conditioner blows up, right? So now I gotta get that guy out here, right? Had a problem with the alarm thing. I had to get the alarm people. You know, it's one of those things, right? It's just one of those times. But I always do that. What's it gonna look like 2 weeks later? What's it gonna look like a month from now? See? And it gets me through. I don't see enough people long-term thinking here. I see a lot of short-term thinking here. I got to get a check today. By the way, short-term thinking is the reason you guys have chargeback problems for those of you that have them. Because you went and wrote a sale today to get a check because you need an electric bill paid or something like that. That's a cash value, guys, do that. You're much better to go get a job and do this part-time if you're struggling for money. You cannot do this business short-term. It doesn't work. Art did not design it for short-term. He designed, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? You never hear any of our op meetings like, get in, you win. We don't have that theory here. We got, get in, you're going to work harder than you've ever worked. Right. That's our theory here, right?
Right.
And those are the people that do that win. Like Mark Cox, what were you, 19th? You said, Debbie? 19th in the country. Right? Wow. Yeah. Now, here they are now, you know, a year ago you were still getting dissed by everybody, right? Now he's 19th in the country out of 7,000 RVPs. Woo! See what I'm saying? And every single one of you should end up like that. Now, maybe that won't happen in the next, huh?
No, I said that we're not even...
No, you're just starting. Yeah, you're just starting, right. But that's amazing, see? How fast, maybe it isn't, the point I'm making with that is maybe where you are today isn't where you want to be, obviously. I'm not where I want to be, so obviously you're not either, huh?
Right.
Okay, but look where you can be. See, when we go to these things, you know, like there was one night where Mark and Sue and I and Hector, and we went all to dinner, just us three, right? And we sat there, and it's so obvious to us when we're at these things that the way we do this business is why we kill everybody. Okay? It's very obvious. You got to be there to see it. Those of you that were there maybe for the first time, I don't know if this was your first trip, Mike, but for the first time to be at the field cabinet and get around the thinking of some of the... They just don't have thinking. If they want to do some numbers, they call a special play and run this play, and everybody pushes for a month, and then their next month there's nothing left, right? Okay, we never do that, do we? Now look at that. We had like the worst crazy month, April. We had our fast start. People let up. We had the trip, right? We still did like 870,000 as a hierarchy. In the midst of us being gone the whole last week, and just a crazy month, and we still kicked everybody's butt. Okay? And we're only 8.5, we're going on 9 years old. And in summer we'll only be 9 years old. Do you imagine what we're going to look like about 9 more years from now?
Yeah.
They won't even include us in the contest, I guarantee you. Okay? I really believe that this hierarchy, in the next 5 years, will have 40 of the top 50 base shops in this country. 40 of the top, not Hector's. No, our hierarchy will have 40 of the top 50 RVPs in this country in the next 5 years. Now that's some domination. Okay? And I'll tell you why. It's very simple. We leaders, and I hope to create more of you leaders like this, still adhere to the old system. You get up in the morning and you put in a hard day's work. See, folks, the generations coming up need that kind of leadership. It's not happening like that in this country now. I haven't ordered a piece of golf equipment. I haven't ordered a piece of golf equipment in the last 2 years that's come correctly. Because the people taking those orders do not care. The workforce in this country right now doesn't care like it used to care. Okay? That was proven by the baseball.
Can I say something really quick? I'm sorry. Those people that are parked in that back parking lot behind Dominican, okay? What, you know, the parking lot down over here? Dominico's, okay, whatever, Dominico's. They're going to tow all their cars. They said that that's private property and no one's allowed to park back there. So they said everyone has 5 minutes. and
How do
me.
they know that's us?
Well, because it is us.
Not legislative.
See?
Mark,
Well, there's probably a lot of cars back there. I don't know where everyone's gonna park.
Yeah.
Okay, I know Cindy had to do that, but
I'm
distraction.
sorry, yeah, otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, Mike. See, you guys back? Are you back? Okay, I don't want to lose this train of thought. This stuff is so vital to your career, to your future. Okay? Listen very closely. The way to win in this country right now, the path to winning in this country right now is still the way it used to be 20, 30 years ago. But here's the good news. Now, there's two sides to this story. There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is most of you are sucked up into the same problem that makes this thing so easy to beat. But you're sucked into the same problem. I can hardly meet anybody anymore that works hard. It's not the thing to do anymore in this country. The thing to do in this country now is to get $7 million a year like Ken Griffey gets and show up and strike out, like I took Eric to his game last night because he loves Ken Griffey, and he struck out 3 of the most pathetic strikeouts I've ever seen a superstar make, right in front of my son, right? Which turned out to be good because now my kid thinks it's okay to strike out. I was going through craziness with him because he would like want to kill himself every time he struck out. So it turned out to be a positive, Right. Because I told him if you play baseball, you're going to strike out. Right. I don't care who you are, Barry Bonds. My kid could probably strike out Barry Bonds by accident. You know what I mean? The bat just doesn't hit that little round ball sometimes, right? But you should have seen his attitude. He didn't care. He gets $7 million whether he strikes out or not. That's what that whole, by the way, if you guys didn't understand the baseball strike, that's what it's about. These owners are going broke, paying these guys salaries, and they can do whatever they want once they sign a contract. They can bat 150 or 450. It doesn't matter. They're getting $7 million. Right?
Right.
Okay, that's what's wrong with the whole country. Everybody thinks that they deserve something, that they got something coming. Now that's the bad news. You're sucked up into that system because you live here. The good news is, for the few of you that break away from that habit that everybody's into, of getting handouts, give me money, I deserve, I'm an American, I've been here 40 years, give me something. For those of you that break away from that system and work hard, like we used to, like Dominic used to, right? Like he grew up, all he knew was work, 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 right? Like my dad did, like your parents did, right? When you guys get back into that system, you kill this thing. Because you know what? Hector and I were playing golf with John Lavin and Dick Walker, and John Lavin's an up-and-coming guy. He's trying to get this thing going. And so he asks me and Hector, what do the youngers do? And Hector answered, he said, they outwork everybody else. That was Hector's answer. Well, they do these special things and they have all these special talents. No. They outwork everybody else. They outdo the things, outcall, be a part of, invite their whole bake shop up for a party. You understand? That kind of stuff. They do the things that nobody else is doing. So now, I want to compete with them, right? So, I got to do the things they're doing. Don't you understand? I got to go back to work. I can't compete with them because I'm Rick SUSIE. I deserve, well, I've been here. That doesn't work. Don't you understand that? If you want to compete with a winner, folks, you better find out what they do and get in the same game. I am not going to hit a baseball with a wiffle bat. Huh? Especially off that guy I saw last night, that Randy Johnson guy. My God, he's 6'10". His arm is like halfway to the plate by the time he hit it. It was a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. He struck out about 13 guys or something like that. He was crazy, man. I was like, Eric, you could hit that. Yeah, and I can't even see it. Anyway, it was fun. But you know what I'm saying, folks? You cannot hit a baseball with a wiffle bat, and you can't beat a worker by putting your hand out. And saying I deserve and I've been here and it's time I get a break. And no. Make your own breaks. Okay? So let's start getting more determined. Now here we are again. We're in a retreat contest, right? I think yours, Mark, ends what? June 30th? June 30th. Okay, and ours goes through July 31st, right? So everybody in this room right this minute is in a retreat contest. That, for the next 60 and 90 days, nothing else matters in your business life. Nothing else matters. Now, I don't know what you guys are doing, but in our contest, we're doing like top 20 personal premiums, top 10 sales leaders in districts, top 15 RMs, and the top 10 RVPs. Okay, that's how we're running ours. And Cindy's going to type that up, and we're going to hand that out. I don't know, what are you guys doing, Sue? Pretty much the same, or do you guys have quotas?
Yeah, we're doing like top 10.
Yeah, see, I didn't put any minimums to it. I just want to honor the top 10.
Yeah, we didn't do minimum.
Okay, yeah, I find that that's the best, okay? Now, if I'm one of you, again, I'm Kevin and Tammy Olson. What are you still, district? Yep. So you're district, okay? I am winning that contest.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, maybe I won't, but at the finish line, you'll be able to tell that I was in there.
Right.
Okay? I told you this story once before, something about me. When I was in 5th grade, I played at my Catholic grade school I went to. I played on the football team. And, you know, you had to be a 7th and 8th graders, most of the guys that played, you know. But I thought that I would be good enough to play as a 5th grader. Because I hung around my older brother who was an 8th grader that year. And I hung around and took a beat from all his friends. And I thought I was tough enough, right? Well, I might have been tough enough, but I was a little small and all that other stuff. But I wanted my dad to think I was going to play, and I didn't get to play one night in the practice. So on the way home, there was this puddle and a bunch of dust. So I took a bunch of dust and I threw it in the puddle, and I put my hands in there and I rubbed it all over my pants. That's how bad I wanted my dad to think, or people to think that I was in there. That I always had that mentality. I wanted to be in. I want the ball on the last play. Jordan blew it yesterday, but he had the ball, didn't he?
Yeah.
And in the paper today, he said, hey, I deserve all the credit for the loss, just like I would if we would have made a play there. Because I take all the blame. It's my fault. He don't care. He wants the ball in the next game, too. Right? See, I want the ball. I want the last putt for the U.S. Open. I want to be at bat in the bottom of the 9th in the 7th game of the World Series. I want to be at the foul line or with the ball in my hand in the 7th game of the championship. I want to be serving the last game of the Wimbledon Championship. I want the ball. Why don't you want the ball? Another question you got to figure out today. What is it about failure that scares you off? What does that saying say? It's better to have failed than to not try, or whatever that thing is, right? I don't know how those things go. I just know the gist. You understand that, folks? We got to have a lot more try in this room. That dogged determination, I will not be denied trying. Which includes the number one thing, which you don't see a lot of people do, which we got to get on that campaign again, is changing. I talked to Gary on the phone the other night. Hector's classic statement. See, Hector knew that I needed to change. He knew what I needed to change too. See, Hector never had to manage me or any of that stuff. He had to hire me, right? He didn't have to teach me how to sell. I taught him a lot of things about sales. He didn't have to teach me how to work. I worked 4 more years in that hellhole than he did, right? So he didn't have to teach me any of that stuff. Okay, what he had to do is get me to change. So the classic statement that he made to me at the beginning, which will always stick with me, is the reason we always use 70 grand, because that's what I was making a year at that time. He said, Rick, if you were worth 70 grand a month, the way you are right now, then how come you're not making it? roughly 70 grand a month. I go, well, I don't have the right vehicle, and I guess I need to change. He goes, exactly. So the first thing I had to change was my vehicle, which I did. Quit, stock, barrel, boom, gone. Change vehicle. What I did with my day changed. July 2nd, 1986. Now I was up every day going to this, instead of up every day going and building two brothers' dreams and getting invited over for dinner to walk around their dream house, right? See, here we do that too, but the reason we do that here is so that you can see what yours is going to look like, not so that you can pay for it. You understand that difference here? Okay, now, you got to wake up in the morning and make changes. You constantly have to make changes. Everything I am going to do in the next couple months, trust me, folks, I don't want to do. I don't want a Super Saturday, Gary. I don't want to spend 20 grand on remodeling my house and having my base shop up there. I don't want to do that. But I want to win more than I don't want to do that. Hey, that was very important what I just said. The wanting to win always, right, Mark, overrides what we don't want to do. The wanting to win always overrides what we don't want to do. That's what makes a winner. You know, you guys I know a lot of you don't have cable. I was shocked to find out in my base shop how many people didn't have cable. But I know a lot of people don't for whatever reason. But the reason I have cable is because of sports. You get extra sports by the ton on cable. Plus, I'm a movie freak. Basically, I have all those movie channels. And last night they had that Tyson story. And there are tremendous things about winning and losing in that movie. Because Tyson is probably one of the most unbelievable characters for where he came from to the unbelievable top. Then he made some mistakes and he fell, you know. So and now he's back again, you know. And I think he's going to be a better athlete and a better human being through this whole thing, right? And it's an incredible movie for all that. And I just studied that stuff about us, you know. And we've got to change, folks. We've got to keep changing. Because the greatness that this hierarchy is meant for is like so close. It's so close right now for us to just absolutely go double right now. Without a run suit, without a, you know, some fancy contest to trick Gary into doing double. It's just there right now, time for us to double. Okay, and we're going to close with this session, and we're going to have Mark's going to come up and he has a presentation he wants to do. But I want to close with this for you guys, okay? Just want you to remember something. If every single person in this room, right now, went from RVP to brand new person, RVPs start setting 50, and if you're hitting 50, start setting 100 as a goal. You don't wake up anything in your mind. Anybody else sets that RVP date. Are you guys a couple? I can't remember. Are you husband and your husband? What's your name again? Todd and Marna. What are you? Mona? You guys are reps? Okay, you're reps right now. You're not sales leaders yet? Okay. See, I didn't say set a sales leader goal, then a district goal, and then an RM goal. You guys sit down, look at a calendar, and say, by June of 1996, or whatever. I don't want to put a time limit. You put your own time limit, okay? Okay, huh? We met in March of next year. That's fantastic. That's shoot for that. And then you fight like crazy. Now, March comes, you're only an RM. Wow, too bad. Then it takes you to June. You know, who cares about that stuff? It's the setting the goal and the waking up and the focusing on the goal. Now, if we did that, Gary, just look in your group right now. You got a pretty great group, right, of people, and they're winners. Just imagine right now if everyone in your group woke up in the morning and all that was on their business mind was RVP. How fast would it take you to double? Like that, a month, 60 days. 60 days. But the problem in most base shops, because see, every one of you, other than the RVPs here, every one of you is in somebody's base shop, right? And the problem with most base shops, not just in our hierarchy, in this company, is you got base shops consisting of these wonderful people from 30 to 130 people, and they just kind of exist in that shop. There's really no RVP pushing, no talking to their people about RVP. See, that's got to change, folks. The position is a $300,000 a year position. And by the end of the year, that's 25 grand a month, right? By the end of the year, this hierarchy will have 15 to 20 different RVPs making 25 grand or more. And that'll be our 9th year. By the time we're in this business, 14, 15 years, I really expect that number to be 150 to 200 people making over 300 grand in the next 5 years. Okay? It's a shame. We have room for way more than that. But science and history tells me that most of you won't work hard enough to get it done. Okay? And plus, another thing is you won't stop hanging around negative people. That's what's really killing most of you. Because you guys kind of find that righteousness in it. Well, my brother, he's my brother, or he's my sister, or she's my sister. You know, it's like, he's my mom, she's my mom, he's my dad, he's my best friend, he's the... hey, I didn't say disassociate. I said stop hanging around. There's a big difference. See, I don't hang around with my brother, but I see my brother. My brother is very negative right now. I can't hang around with him. You understand? I'm not in the business of fixing somebody's problems and listening to them all day long. That's for psychologists. See? You guys aren't in the business of that. You're in the business of winning. You really want to help your family, go win. So that's the best thing I do for my brothers. I keep winning. Because what would be the worst thing I could do for my woe is me brother? What would be the worst thing?
Let up.
Start losing. Then what? What's he feel like? Ah, good. That would make him feel better, huh? Yep. Good. Now my brother's losing too. Good. Now, hey, let's get together and moan and complain. I'll be right over. I mean, his girlfriend told me the other day, well, he doesn't feel comfortable coming around because, you know, we need to do, she goes, you're right, we need to come around you because he's driving me crazy. I go, why? She goes, because all he does is moan and complain. That's why he doesn't come to my house. Right. Because he knows what? That ain't going to work there, is it? Right. And he's got to be positive when he's around me, huh? Right. So I never see him. Right. And that's fine with me because I don't want to see him if that's the ground rules. I only want to see him when he comes and wants to get better. Right. And wants to say, yeah, things are tough, but I'm going to change and we're going to get better. I don't want to sit around moaning and complaining, talking about Clinton and bombs in Oklahoma City and all that stuff. I can't change anything about that. I can just change what we're doing. Trying to make people happier and get their lives in order, right? Right. So that's what we got to do here, folks. We've got to stop hanging around with people, go back to work like our parents did. Get back into the old school work ethic, Gary. No handouts, no I deserve, well, I've been here, I got seniority, all that caca, right? Out. Out the door today. And we get focused on RVP and never missing a contest, okay? Mark and Sue, you want to both come up or whatever? They're going to come up.
Could I have all the RVPs who got the rings, you guys come up here, please?
107 grand. Can you lend us money?
You have to have the ring on?
You don't have a ring, forget it, man. No blaming the company stuff.
Okay, and then the rest of you, there's some people that are missing here today, but
I don't have a ring.
Yeah, you hear that story? You have your ring, Rick. It's on order. All right.
I snorkeled in the ocean.
There's a fish worth $1 million.
That's another
This is another special moment in this couple's life, as well as it will be for all of you one day, is receiving a ring. And it just was mailed here, and so we just got it. This one couple, it looks like a lot of us went out to apply to get to this point. Made $18,900 last month. On the way to making, I would say, probably about $250,000, if not more, this year. And we present them with this ring, which is gorgeous, beautiful ring right here. And on the side of it says COX, Cox, Martin Cox.